General Phillips came to the hospital tents. The color of his crimson cloak was deepened by the rain, and the sheen of his boots was speckled by mud. There was a basket on his arm. His dog was at his side, shaking the moisture off his coat, then nudging his master's hand with his nose and receiving a scratch behind the ears. Ned was surprised, and not surprised, to see the head of the artillery before them. He had a reputation for visiting the sick and wounded in whatever campaign he had embarked upon. Yet now it seemed the world had gone to hell, and all expectations had been upturned. But Phillips, at least, remained the same. He was a prince of Deved by descent, traversing the underworld, and he would not wrinkle his nose at the stench of death. All that were able saluted. Some started to scramble to their feet. Phillips raised his hand, absolving them of formality. Then the corner of his mouth twitched. "Lads, there was a light in the darkness, and not from the big guns, ours or theirs. Nay, there was a light in the darkness when the rain clouds shifted, and she was a star, radiant white. She is like our duty, my good fellows, and it is fitting for her to guide us, no matter how black the sky." "Sir, will General Burgoyne raise the black flag or the white one?" one young private with a bandaged chest asked weakly. "And what is it to you, soldier?" he demanded. "Black or white, we cannot escape the reaping hour whenever it has been written for us. If our gallant General Fraser could not, who had a host's strength in him, why should we imagine that we can?" At the very mention of Fraser's name, some of the soldiers bit their lips. One sucked in a sob. Ned himself felt tears burn his eyes. Phillips ran his thumb across his own forehead, as if indicating something written there, then cleared his throat. "Lads, we do not belong to ourselves, but to the sovereign we serve. We gave ourselves away freely the day we donned his livery. You may die, and I may die, but at least we do so for nothing less than a king, bearing grace and might in his blood. His honor is ours. We are sworn to represent him well, no matter our rank, and die, if we must, in his defense, with kingly hearts in our breasts, no matter our birth." The boy with the bandaged chest coughed and quickly apologized, pressing a hand over his mouth. Phillips regarded him softly, pardoned him, then pulled something from out of the basket on his arm. It was a bottle. "This numbs pain," he said, "and brings bright dreams. Mayhaps fair nymphs will come to share your sleeping space if you're lucky. Of course, you may not be as enticing to them as I have proven, but—" The men chuckled, and a few whistled. And so the bottle was passed around. "Mix it with rainwater to make it last amongst yourselves," the general advised. A bucket of collected water was brought over, and the wine poured into it. Then the thirsty soldiers drank from it with their hands. Some men were too bad off to scoop it up themselves and had to be assisted by their comrades. One poor boy, wasted from fever, swallowed too fast and spit it up. "Make it last, dears," Phillips cautioned. "Nurse it, so it might nurse you." He leaned over and turned the boy's burning face towards him with a firm hand. Their eyes locked. He seemed to be trying to pierce through the fever itself, force the haze to separate, and provide an open path to reach the soldier, lost to the shadows. "Courage, boy," Phillips said. "Courage to the end. Know this is real, that I have looked upon you. Courage." Then he stood up and took something else from the basket. Bread, beautiful and brown. "Make it last," he counseled again, as he made sure they tore it apart in a manner that was fair. "Soak it in wine for the sick to swallow." The soldiers wolfed down the bread with ravenous hunger, But several managed, mouths still full, to offer their thanks, and Phillips appeared moved to sorrow at the sight. "Now, boys, you know what I am, that I come from old blood, very old and good, from the servants of kings, and those that bore their spurs and cups. And I don't scorn to have my ashes mix with yours, if to mix with the dirt of this far land is our destiny, claiming it forever for our cause. Let us mix well and without shame." His voice grew husky as he continued, "Let me tell you, lads, as the Father in heaven reads hearts, I drive you hard, mightily hard, to your duty. But to wound you is to wound me, and to wound me is to wound the king. And when all the traitors and scoundrels are gone to Hades, you and I will have better wine to drink, better songs to sing. The night shall die, and we shall ride out with the dawn." They cheered him, cried for God to save him and the king, and his eyes glimmered. He rubbed his nose, tinged red now, and walked among them, offering encouragement to this one, a coin to that one, his ruddy face graced by a warm smile. The uniform of the artillery, marked by the triple colors of scarlet, indigo, and gold, showed forth in flashes as he pushed aside the heavy folds of his cloak, and Ned could not help but be reminded of their flag. "General Burgoyne is proud of you," Phillips said at last, his voice cracking worse than ever. "He is. He loves you, for you have done all that brave men can do." After exchanging salutes, Phillips turned to leave, and some of the men said, "God bless Gentleman Johnny," and Philip's face turned pale as any phantom as he shuffled out of the tent and back into the rain.